Hello, my name is Gray Weaver, and I'm your Milton High School Title I Parent Family Engagement Liaison. Thank you for joining us for this virtual option of our 10th grade parent and student book study on Unbroken, an Olympian's journey from airman to castaway to captive by Laura Hillenbrand. We're sorry you couldn't be with us in person on Thursday, October the 2nd, but we're glad you're taking part through this video. Throughout this session, we'll share video clips, photos, and highlights to help catch you up on what took place. This is actually our first time using our new tracking camera to offer a virtual experience like this, so we greatly appreciate your patience and understanding. You may notice a few moments where the audio isn't perfect or the camera temporarily loses track of a presenter who moves a little too quickly, but overall, we're excited to bring this new option to you. As you go through the video, I'll pop in between segments to explain what's happening and provide a short summary of key discussions or activities that might not have been fully captured on camera. I've also included helpful links and resources in the video description, so be sure to check those out when you have time. Finally, we'd love to have you join us in person for our next book study session on Thursday, November 6th at 6 p.m. in the MHS Media Center. We'll continue our journey through Unbroken, enjoy great conversations, and connect as a school family. Thanks again for tuning in. Now let's get started.
And I appreciate y'all being here. I'm Tim Short. I'm the principal here at Milton High School. And I appreciate you coming up this evening to be involved in this, this book study. And we actually did this last year, and it's a really, really neat event. And obviously, part of what we do, we're what's called a Title I school. So we get some federal funding because of our high poverty rate, our free reduced lunch rate, and so forth. And so we're trying to do things to get parents and students involved, especially the parent side of it. And so like this event kind of targets our 10th graders, especially 10th graders that are in certain reading classes and English classes, just trying to get them up here. And we feel like that if we can put a book in front of a student and they can read, they will read it, then it will just help them as they go on through school. They're going to be exposed to new vocabulary, new experiences, and things like that. So this event, it runs over 4 nights. We'll do it every,
It's,
4 or 5 weeks
yeah,
or
it's about
something.
every 4 or 5.
Yeah, and it ends up, I believe, in February.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they'll be spread out, and what we'll do is we'll say, hey, here's what we'd like for you to read before the next meeting, so we can come back and talk about what happened in the book up to that point. And then at the end of this, we'll kind of wrap it up. I'll let Ms. Steele talk about it. We have an event to kind of wrap it up and get these students out of class one day and do some things. And y'all are welcome to come up here and be involved in that also. As our little end of the year wrap up part of this. But I want to introduce a few people here before we get going. I don't see Mr. Rowell anymore, but in the back, Amanda Letty is our assistant principal over curriculum. Chad Rowell will be back. He's in and out all over the place. He'll have on a pink shirt, but he's another assistant principal that's in charge of facilities and buildings and grounds. Mr. Gray Weaver is our parent family liaison, parent family engagement liaison, and does a lot. Well, all he does is Title I stuff. Well, not all he does, but the majority of what he's responsible for is Title I, and helping manage monies and events and coordinating things and all that. So big part of all this. We have our literacy coach, Ms. Brooke Steele, which she'll kick this off here in just a minute. And then we have a couple teachers up here with us, Ms. Dana Hood, who was just selected as our teacher of the year for the school this year. So congratulations to Ms. Hood.
Thank you.
Yep, awesome. And then Alyssa Allen, who is also an inclusion teacher, and Ms. Hood is an English teacher, but Ms. Allen is also a little part-time English, but a lot of ESC inclusion work. So we're excited to have them here, and they'll kind of lead what's going on tonight. So I'm going to get out of the way. I'll turn it over to these ladies, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Okay, and remember, there's snacks and stuff over here, drinks. Y'all are welcome to go help yourself as you need throughout the evening. Okay, thank you.
And some of y'all may have these two teachers. They both teach 10th grade. So
Everybody here has.
everybody has y'all? Hey. Okay. They're going to kick us off by talking about the book some and why we chose this book and some exciting things. And we also have tonight, I'm super excited to talk about that we have a couple of people who came last year for all the engagement nights. And so they're going to be a great help as we go through this too. They had a lot of information last year as we went through. So I cannot remember. Help me remember your name, Mr. Weaver. Do y'all remember? What's your name?
George.
Yes, George Bernhardt. That's right. He is here, and he has a lot of information, military information, and his children are great and have participated, so they're a great resource too. And we're super excited.
So one of the first things just to kind of mention about Unbroken, everyone in 10th grade as part of our curriculum, we do a survival unit, and one of the stories that we read is an excerpt from Unbroken. So everyone in this room that has been in a 10th grade English class should be pretty familiar with at least part of Louis Zamperini's story. We read just a small excerpt in class, and all of the kids are always like, what? Like, there's more to that story, because truly it's like every page there's something new, and you keep wondering, like, how did this guy keep going on? And it's just something that you have to read to believe it, and it really did happen. So we'll just talk about a few of the things.
Hold on.
Oh,
And pause.
you're fired as the clicker. So we have a few different resources to get you interested in reading, because a lot of the time what we see is that students really do not like anything that's not fiction. But we're trying to engage our students in looking into different genres, because there's so much more than just fiction to the world of reading. But one of the things that we like to do in our classrooms is we like to tie in and engage and make connections in between film or different types of media and our movies. So we have a book trailer that hopefully will spark a little bit of interest.
Should have sound.
I forgot you could
Okay.
see this.
How did you
I think it's playing.
make sure that volume's up right there on the remote?
Hey, y'all, give us 1 second. There we go. Okay, let's try again. And play again. Oh. There.
And that is one of the great things about this book, is that there are pictures, because in the 6 years that I've been teaching, kids are often gravitating to books that have pictures in them because they don't see them much anymore. Like, as you get older, pictures in books are like obsolete. And it really just helps fill in those gaps for readers to see images of what they're reading about, right? And I'm going to rely on a few of the students that are in here to kind of talk about what we know about the book so far. So like Zane and then like if Victoria were here and our other kid and McKenna, y'all already know some spoilers because we've read part of the book, right? So Zane, can you tell me Louis Zamperini, before he was in the military, what did he do?
He was an Olympic track runner.
Very good. So he was invited to the Olympics to run for the United States team. So even before he joined the military, he had this kind of extraordinary life where he got to do things that other people only dream of. But even before then, he had an interesting life because he was not a good kid. He was always getting in trouble, doing all of these things. And then he got involved in track and went to the Olympics. And then, of course, he joined the military because of World War II. And that's whenever his story got really exciting. So that's the great part of this book, too, is it takes you through the different stages of Louis Zamperini's life, and you really get to know him in an interesting way, because Laura Hildenbrand, the lady that wrote the book, she does such like a great job of being creative, but also telling the facts. And Miss Steele was talking about how it's almost like she was sitting down and getting Louis' story and writing everything down. And it's kind of like when you listen to your grandpa tell a story. Like, I swear that shark was this big. And she just really crafts it in a way that's intriguing to read. Next slide, please.
I'm trying.
I know you are.
Oh no.
It's okay.
Next.
This is
Next.
very much how our classroom
Next.
operates.
Next.
Rhonda and these.
Next.
Fancy.
Okay, I'm going to the bottom. We're going to the bottom.
There we
Oh.
go. Beautiful.
All right, so just to go over, the goal of this experience is that the students and the parents are reading together. We want to experience literacy as a family. So often literacy can feel very isolating and you're reading by yourself. And this is a great opportunity to connect with not only maybe just your parent, but maybe other people in your household. Like if you have siblings, maybe they want to read the book too, right? This is a great opportunity to make a whole family activity for them to enjoy. So some suggestions. How should you read together? Because that sounds crazy. You're like reading a whole chapter book together. Just the suggestions we have, you could read it separately and discuss. Maybe you are not people who can read together. That's okay. I don't think I could read with my mom. We have to read separately, and then we can talk about what we've read later on. You can read together 1 or 2 nights a week. Maybe you set aside, okay, on Wednesdays and Saturdays, we're going to sit down and read this book together. Because you have... I almost choked a little bit. That's okay. In between each session, we will tell you the dates of when everything is, what pages we want you to have read by our next session, and you can plan ahead. Okay, like maybe let's read this amount of pages this week, and we'll sit down and do that together. Because I know lives are busy, and so it's hard to set aside too much time to read a book together. If your Saturday mornings are not busy, you can sit down and read Saturday mornings together over breakfast, maybe a cup of coffee if you're not a breakfast person. You could set aside 10 to 20 minutes daily, maybe like right after dinner if you eat dinner together as a family. You set aside time. This is the time we're going to read together every day, and that keeps it fresh in your mind as well. If you are a audio book themed, there's a link. We're going to hand out bookmarks later
Yes.
that have both the dates on it and a link for an audio book. If that is something that interests you, you can listen to it in the car. That's how I listen to all my audiobooks is in my car. So I know that works for some people. But you need to figure out what fits your schedule. It's not a one-size-fits-all formula. Whatever works for you, you'll have to figure that out. Maybe you try one method, it doesn't work, you adjust, but you do have the freedom to do that. So we do want to give you a minute to discuss with your partner, per se, what a good reading schedule for you might be. And maybe there's one you can use right now and you adjust in the future. But, there's a 2-minute timer on here. Just maybe take like 1 minute to discuss. I don't think we're going to need 2 whole minutes.
And this is all just about like intention. If you don't intentionally plan to read together, it can become more complicated, right? So like carving out time is really essential for this. And as you know, your kids are getting older. This is probably like one of the last times you're gonna like read something together, and that could be really, really special. So
It's emotional.
it is emotional, but that's like the beauty of this too, though, is like you get another chance to do that with your kid, which is exciting. So y'all discuss for about a minute.
And you had copies of the book so you can flip through to kind of see how much reading does it look like it is, look, see how many pictures there are, and kind of get like a game plan together.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to set the timer, and y'all rock and roll, just talk about what your plans are.
Teachers love timers.
Yes.
Oh, I love timers too. It keeps me.
No!
That's okay.
It's we're just gonna leave it.
We're good.
Book and just have some good experiences and memories you can look back on and say, remember that time we read that book, did that book study at the school? But there's more than just that. We talked a little bit about it. But if you will come to 3 out of our 4 meetings, and tonight's already 1, so check. If you come to 3 or 4 out of our 4 meetings, then you can come to our movie watch party at the school, and we're super excited about that. You get out of class, and we make a big deal out of it. I think we actually had some snacks and things. And also, obviously, every night we come here, we just have fun. We start bonding, and we kind of get used to each other. We play games here and stuff like that and try to get to know each other. So it is a great experience, and also there's free food. You can't go wrong with that, right? Okay. So we are going to now do a gallery walk, and Ms. Hood's going to talk to you about that. People who have done this before may kind of have some insight, too. So.
It's like we just did a gallery walk in my class. All right, so for a gallery walk, you are going to get these sheets of paper, and you are going to notice that we have images around that are numbered. You are going to follow, I would say, in order, but if you go out of order, that's absolutely fine. It's just numbered on here, so you have a space for each one. Can we do one per person or one per pair?
I know each person needs to get their own. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, they're so polite. They're just right down here.
So on our gallery walk, you're going to see 11 different images. I'm going to ask you to take just a moment to study each image. And as you study it, I want you to think about this: what I notice, and the second thing, what I wonder. And then take just a few moments to discuss that with either your parent or your child. And be sure to pause on those images. The images only play for about 5 seconds. So pause, study them, discuss, and then move on. Again, there are 11 images. Enjoy. So after the gallery walk, we broke into parent groups and student groups. Students kind of talked about some of the challenges that they face here in school, along with some resources that can help them to overcome those. And with the parents, we had a packet of different resources that I will share if you will look at the link down here below. And you can access the whole packet of all the materials from that night. But I encourage you to take a few moments, look through that stuff. Again, we talk about the after-school tutoring programs that we have. We talk about the importance of attendance, talk about clubs and organizations. It's important that all students get plugged in high school. And so kind of who's in charge of the different clubs and organizations, who to contact for different things and such. So be sure to check out that package.
And now his body had wasted to less than 100 pounds, and his famous legs could not lift him. Almost everyone outside of his family had given him up for dead. On that 27th day, the men heard a distant, deep strumming. Their eyes caught a glint in the sky, a plane high overhead. Zamperini fired 2 flares and shook powdered dye into the water, enveloping the rafts in a circle of vivid orange. The plane kept going, slowly disappearing, and the men sagged. But then the plane reappeared. The crew had seen them. Overjoyed, the castaways shouted, waving their arms, starved to little more than bone and skin, and the plane dropped low and swept alongside the rafts. Zamperini saw the crewmen's profiles, dark against the bright blueness. Suddenly, there was a terrific roar, and the ocean seemed to boil. It was machine gun fire. This wasn't an American rescue plane. It was a Japanese bomber. The men pitched themselves into the sea, and they hung under their rafts, cringing as bullets pierced the rubber and the sliced lines in the water around their faces. The firing blazed on, and then sputtered out as the bomber overshot them. The men dragged themselves onto the one raft that was still mostly inflated, and the bomber circled toward them again, the machine guns taking aim. Zamperini's crewmates were too weak to go back into the water, and as they laid down, hands over their heads, Zamperini splashed overboard alone. Somewhere below, the sharks were done waiting. They bent their bodies in the water, and they swam toward that man under the raft. Okay, that's exciting. That's why I said you were wearing the right shorts tonight. His shorts have sharks all on them. So what do you guys think about that? Does that help with the visual of the story? That's just the first 2 pages. And it's just so amazing to think this really happened. And how many days did they say he had been? What did it say? Yeah. Like, that's without somebody bringing you lunch and breakfast and supper. Like, that's you trying to figure out how you're going to eat. Like, that's figuring out everything. That's figuring out how do you live with these sharks literally swarming, waiting for you to have a moment of weakness that, you know, you may fall in. I mean, it's crazy. And it's all true. That's what's so amazing about this. So anyway, we wanted to give you just a few minutes of starting just reading like page 5 with your kid together, whether you want to read it independently or whether you want to sit side by side and just read it, just to kind of read the first couple of pages to get a vibe for it. So we're just going to read for just a little bit to get you kicked off, okay? And y'all can all read at the same time. You won't disrupt anybody. Some can move over here, some can move over there, wherever you want to go, okay? All right, start at page 5, rock and roll. I like that it starts with this stuff of him, he's floating in the ocean, and then all of a sudden we go back to him being 12 years old. I like that. Does anybody remember what that's called? The younger kids may remember that. So we're here, and then we like flashback to kind of go back in time too. So it goes back to him being 12 years old and kind of sets the stage of what's going on. And it just almost seems like it's 2 totally different stories, but it all is connected, which is really, really cool. We are going to read up to page 94 by the next meeting that we have, which will be on November the 6th. And if you look through those pages, like just kind of flipping through and see like what are the pictures that are in these. I mean, it doesn't spoil anything to look at to see. They're all real action shots of World War II. You know? I feel like they're really in it with them. Really cool. Okay, so turn to this. Will show you the dates. They're not all on the same weeknight, so make sure you look ahead to know. But we'll always send out a reminder so that you guys will know what the dates are. All right, if you flip to the back where the discussion questions are, you would just, these are not for you to like write down a piece of paper and bring in. That's nothing like that. This is just when you get finished reading chapters 1 through 11, you can, these are just some points that your family, y'all could, touch on and discuss and say, what do you think about Louis and what he went through when he was younger and how that affected him later on? So that's all these questions are for, is just for you to have a kicking off point to talk with your family. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. I guess now we can wrap it up with kind of going over the surveys and all that kind of stuff. I hope y'all had fun tonight. This is just a kickoff. It gets more exciting the further we get into the book. So,
All right. Well, that concludes our first session on our book study of Unbroken. I encourage us to get out there and read. And let me just remind you that if you need a book, we will provide one per family. You can either contact me, let me know your student's name and their English teacher, or they may just want to get up with their English teacher and they can get one from them. But either way works for me. But we hope to see you at our next book study night on Thursday, November the 6th at 6 p.m. in the MHS Media Center. So let's get to reading. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.